I'm just walking home.
Stay still.
Please.
Please what? I said stay still! Did you steal that, huh? That bag isn't yours, is it? Stay down!
The video you're about to see lasts only a few seconds. A police officer approaches an elderly man in the hallway of an apartment building. Within moments, the situation escalates. Words are exchanged. The man tries to explain himself, but the officer pushes him to the ground. That officer was Daniel Mercer, a patrol officer with the Riverton Police Department. And the man on the floor was Samuel Carter, a 72-year-old resident who had lived in that building for more than a decade. What happened in those few seconds would eventually cost the city $670,000. But the story behind the video goes much deeper. Officer Daniel Mercer had been with the Riverton Police Department for 6 years. Colleagues described him as an officer who liked to take control of situations quickly. Before joining the department, Mercer had briefly served in the military and later attended the Regional Police Academy. His training emphasized rapid response and officer safety, two priorities that shape how many officers react in uncertain situations. But critics later argued that Mercer had a pattern of being overly aggressive during encounters with civilians. According to public records, he had previously received 2 internal complaints about the use of force. Neither complaint resulted in serious disciplinary action. And on the afternoon of the incident, Mercer was responding to a call about a possible theft reported nearby. The man he confronted, Samuel Carter, had a very different story. Carter was a retired bus mechanic who had spent nearly 40 years working for the city's transportation department. Friends and neighbors described him as quiet, polite, and deeply respected in the community. After retiring, Carter lived alone in the apartment complex where the incident took place. He often spent his afternoons visiting a nearby grocery store and chatting with neighbors in the building lobby. At 72 years old, he moved slowly and used a walking cane on longer trips. On the day of the incident, he was simply returning home with a small bag containing groceries. But when Officer Mercer saw him in the hallway, the officer believed he might match the vague description of a suspect reported earlier. And that assumption set the stage for what happened next. According to witness statements and video footage, the confrontation escalated almost immediately. Officer Mercer demanded that Carter drop the bag he was carrying. Carter appeared confused. He tried to explain that he lived in the building, but the officer moved closer and raised his voice. Witnesses later said the situation became tense within seconds. When Carter hesitated, Mercer grabbed him. The elderly man lost his balance and fell hard onto the hallway floor. The fall left Carter with injuries to his shoulder and wrist. For a 72-year-old man, the consequences were serious. And soon after, the case moved from a hallway confrontation to a courtroom battle. Samuel Carter filed a civil rights lawsuit against the city. The case centered on a key legal concept in American law enforcement: excessive force. Under the Fourth Amendment, police officers are prohibited from using unreasonable force during encounters with civilians. The lawsuit argued that Carter posed no threat, was not resisting arrest, and had clearly attempted to explain himself. Because Mercer was acting as a government officer at the time, the case was filed under Section 1983, a federal civil rights law that allows citizens to sue government officials for violating constitutional rights. The legal battle lasted nearly 2 years, and during that time, attorneys examined Bodycam footage, witness statements, and Mercer's disciplinary history. Eventually, the city decided to settle the case. The settlement amount, $670,000. City officials stated that the decision was made to avoid the cost and uncertainty of a full trial. But the settlement also served as an acknowledgement that the situation had gone wrong. Critics argued that taxpayers were once again paying the price for police misconduct. Others said the settlement highlighted the importance of legal accountability. The incident became one more example in the ongoing cases like the Mercer Carter incident raised difficult questions. How should police balance authority with restraint? How can departments ensure officers are properly trained to de-escalate situations? And how does the legal system protect citizens when mistakes happen? Civil rights lawsuits have become one of the primary ways these questions are addressed. They create financial consequences for misconduct, but they also force institutions to examine their policies, training, and oversight. For Samuel Carter, the incident was a painful moment in what had otherwise been a quiet retirement. For Officer Daniel Mercer, it became a defining moment in his career. And for the city of Riverton, it became a costly reminder that the power given to law enforcement must always be matched by responsibility. Because when authority crosses the line, the law has a way of responding.